Welcome back to this week's episode of KCAT News.
This week, KSN came out to interview Jonas Cho about the bonus with Jonas. Sean has a story on that. Trey talks about FFA going to Speech CDE event this week, and Emmer reviews the Mystery Dinner Theater.
Gabe will have his weekly Gabe's Game recap, and we have another edition of the bonus with Jonas. I'm Trey Abasolo.
And I'm Shane Fonsel.
And KCAT News starts right now.
This week, KSN came out to interview Jonas Cho about the segment last week. Shauna interviewed John Nasibis to see what they found interesting in Jonas.
On January 15th, Channel 3 KSN reporter John Nasibis came to Mulvane High School to interview sophomore Jonas Cho over his NFL playoff predictions that were first seen here on KCAT News on the bonus with Jonas. Jonas was able to predict correctly 3 out of the 4 games from last week. He picked the Chiefs over the Colts, the Rams over the Cowboys, and the Patriots over the Chargers, and nearly missed on the upset alert pick of the day, picking the Eagles, which fell to the Saints. Since then, Jonas caught the eye of KSNW Channel 3, who saw the extraordinary picks he made, but also saw the obstacles he was able to overcome.
I'm John Nasibis. I'm a weekend anchor and a weekday reporter. We just heard about we were sitting in our editorial meeting, and we had some people who know some friends down here in Mulvane and talked about Jonas. And it's funny because we just started our own sports show just right off the ground, and when we heard that who Jonas was and what he was doing and how good his picks were, it was almost, it was a shoo-in to come do this story. So we called down and they were like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Before Jonas was on KCAT and KSN Channel 3, he was still a household name in our school. But now he might be a household name to more than just us here at MHS. Sean Neptune, KCAT News.
Gabe, this week, is bringing us a brand new episode of GGR.
Thanks, Trey. On January 10th, the bowling teams were in action at Derby Bowl versus the Collegiate Spartans and the Valley Center Hornets. The varsity boys defeated the Spartans 2,477 to 1,786. Then they also beat the Hornets 2,477 to 2,219. The JV boys won against the Spartans 1,830 to 901, and then against the Hornets 1,830 to 1,798. The varsity girls came on top as well, winning 1,898 to 1,300 over the Spartans, and then 1,898 to 1,629 over the Hornets. Then the JV girls capped off the school-wide sweep, defeating the Hornets 1,210 to 1,170. Then on January 11th, they were in action against the McPherson Bullpups and the Cheney Cardinals in McPherson. Varsity boys came on top over the Bullpups 2,362 to 2,242, and then over the Cardinals 2,362 to 2,161. But the JV boys fell to the Bullpups 1,682 to 1,974, but they overcame the Cardinals 1,682 to 1,527. Varsity girls defeated the Bullpups 1,780 to 1,712, and the Cardinals 1,780 to 1,096. And then on January 15th, they were in action at West Acres Bowl against the Andale Indians. The Wildcats were victorious as the varsity boys won 2,452 to 2,036. The JV boys came on top 1,823 to 0. Varsity girls won 1,834 to 1,304. And then the JV girls capped off another school-wide sweep with winning 1,380 to 236. Both boys and girls varsity remain undefeated with a 5-0 record, and the JV teams sit at 4-1. On Friday, January 11th, the basketball teams traveled to Rose Hill to take on the cross-county rival, the Rockets. The C-team boys fell 48 to 61. The JV boys fell 47 to 55. Then the varsity boys came out on top, winning 61 to 57. Gage Gerlach led the team with 16 points. Then Drew Ellis and Michael Manis each had 15 points. The C-team girls won 36 to 23. Then the varsity girls came up short, 40 to 66. Kira Parks led the team with 8 points. Then on Wednesday, January 16th, the varsity boys basketball team played their first game of the annual Chaparral Roadrunner Classic against the Belle Plaine Dragons. The Cats fell 77-50. Trey Apostolo led the Cats offensively with 15 points, and then right behind him was Drew Ellis, who dropped 13 points, as he is now 3 points shy of setting the all-time record. The wrestling team hosted the Clearwater Indians for their senior night on January 10th. The Cats won 39-27. Then on January 12th, the wrestling team was in action in the Clearwater Invitational. Mulvane placed second as a team, but first place medalists were Trent Moses, Chadwick Stahl, and Kyle Smith. Then Jackson Young in second place. Then in third place was Ethan McElravy. And then Hunter Dietrich, Jace Moberg, Cohen Shands, and Bryson Williams in fourth. KCAT reporter Caleb Perkins caught up with Coach Langerot after he had his 350th win.
All schools have traditions. Mulvane has Victory Wildcat, the alma mater, and for 30 years we've had one head wrestling coach, Mr. Rick Langerot. Whether it is his coaching philosophy, his pride for the sport, or his support for his athletes, Mr. Rick Langerot is a Wildcat tradition who has made a difference for generations of Mulvane High School graduates. The MHS icon recently got his 350th win last Thursday, January 10th. Here's a quick look at the coach behind the wins.
Well, I started wrestling in high school, and I officiated for 5 years when I was in college, and I got a job coaching in Fort Scott, so I just kind of always loved the sport. Started in 77, 78.
Coach Langerot's success didn't happen overnight. He's been at this for decades.
This is my 30th year here at Mulvane.
Coach Langer's philosophy has been working for over 30 years.
You know, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of great kids over the year, and they've worked hard and they've been successful, so, you know, it's just one to the next, I guess.
Although after school, Coach Langerot's focus has been on the wrestling program, it really is just an extension of his love for teaching. This is how it all started.
My wife and my aunt tried to talk to me and thought I'd be a good teacher, so I gave it a shot. It wasn't my chosen profession to start with, but I've grew to love it and loved every minute of it.
Langerot is proud of the traditions that he has started here at MHS for many reasons.
Number one, I got to start it, and I've worked with a lot of great kids, and it's turned out to be a fairly successful program, and it's respected across the state for being a class program and the kids being well behaved, and that's what makes it all worthwhile.
For Coach Langerot, the sport of wrestling has many benefits that it offers to its athletes.
Wrestling offers a lot of self-accountability, self-responsibility. You have nobody to blame it on but yourself. You get out of the sport exactly what you put into it. It's an individual sport, but at the same time it teaches you a lot about teamwork and being there for your team. Well, I hope it teaches character and integrity. I think those are two key things we need in life, and I think wrestling teaches that.
Coach Langerot's 350 wins all started with the core of philosophy.
Oh, my philosophy would be hard work, wrestle aggressive, wrestle fair, and compete.
Coach Langerot has an even greater achievement than his 350 wins.
Oh, probably our best memories was when we finished third in the state, and then, of course, all my state medalists over the years. But one of the things I'm most proud of is that 20-some of my kids have went on and coached in high school and middle schools across the country.
Just like all good traditions at Mulvane High School, Coach Langerot is proud of more than just his winning record.
Well, I'd like to think that we've been a team program all along, that we've been family, and we care about one another, and hopefully that's what we've passed on to the kids.
Coach Langerot, here's to your next 350 wins. Caleb Perkins, KCAT News.
Thanks, Caleb. That's it for this week's edition of Gabe's Game Recap. Gabe Daniel, KCAT News.
This week, FFA went to Buhler to participate in the CDE speaking event. Trey Abasolo covered this event.
On Wednesday, January 16th, 5 FFA members traveled to Buhler to compete in the Speech Career Development event. We were one of about 15 schools competing in this event. Speech CDE is an event where students can go and express their public speaking abilities. Callie Humboldt, Tucker Garrison, Brandon Shaver, and Lane Shockey were the 4 contestants that competed. Callie Humboldt placed 5th out of 19 contestants over her speech in agriculture and leadership. Brandon Shaver also placed 6th in extempt speaking. Tucker Garrison and Lane Shockey did not place in the top 10, but still did an excellent job preparing their speeches. Congratulations to all the FFA members that went. That's it for me, Trey Basolo, KCAT News. Last Saturday, Thespians hosted their annual Mystery Dinner Theater, and Emma has the scoop on the event.
Thanks, guys. On Saturday, January 12th, the MHS Thespian Club performed this year's Mystery Dinner Theater, Dial M for Monster, for 2 different shows, one at 1 p.m. and the other at 6 p.m. Both shows had different casts, with the exception of one character being Count Dracula, which is played by Elijah Travis. Combined, both shows had roughly 150 people attend. This year was a success for everyone who was involved with the show. Emma Seville, KCAT News.
Last week, The Bonus with Jonas was a big hit, and this week we are bringing you another episode.
The Bonus with Jonas. The Bonus with Jonas. The Bonus with Jonas. Only on KCAT News. Welcome back with Bonus with Jonas. Now we will talk about the AFC and NFC Championship title game.
Welcome back, Jonas. Well, you had a good weekend. You picked 3 out of 4 games in the playoffs. Very good job. A very close game there. New Orleans and Philly is the only game you missed from last week. Today we're going to talk about the teams remaining, okay, the Final 4, and going into this weekend's playoffs. First game we're going to talk about is the NFC with the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints. Who's going to be your pick for that game?
Well, we've got upset. I'm going to go LA this one. I've got to believe in the rookie. Jared Goff is going to have a good game with more, he may be inexperienced, but he can move more easier than Breeze.
Oh, okay.
In the dome, so, and it'll be warmer, so it might be an issue for Drew.
Do you see a high-scoring game?
Yeah, these two probably going to have a battle. I don't know how high it's going to be, but you can expect a battle between these two.
How do you think the veteran Drew Brees will do in the Superdome?
He might have to be careful because on the first drive last week, he didn't look so hot at all. He had an interception on the very first play, and, well, Eagles were up early in that one.
Okay. So you're going to take the Los Angeles Rams for Game 1, NFC. So Jonas picks the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, let's move on to the AFC, and we're going to talk about the New England Patriots at the Kansas City Chiefs. So Jonas, what do you got going in that game?
Well, I've got to say, we're just going to have some weather problems in that one.
Okay. Let's talk about the weather a little bit. What is the forecast?
Well, the forecast is weather is going to be from 10 degrees Fahrenheit to almost, it's going to be below 0. And snow, no chance of snow, ice. I would bundle up for you Kansas City fans because it's going to be nasty.
Okay. What do you think about the quarterback matchup with Tom Brady against Mahomes? It's quite a classic matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be a good match between them two. The weather might actually have some say-so as what's going to happen with passing and rushing. And if there's snow, it's going to be a hard game for both of them. Very tough.
Okay, this is projected to be a high-scoring match. Do you think the weather keeps the points down, or do these quarterbacks keep the points rolling in this one?
I'm going to say a little bit of both. The weather's going to come into play. If they have to play an overtime session, there might be an issue where it might take a while, and at the end of the day, I think Mahomes is probably going to outpass for yards-wise against Brady.
Okay.
But you got to think about it this way. The Patriots have experience, and Brady's used to the cold, and he had to run by 13 points. So, honestly, I've got to say Patriots are not going to do so good versus Kansas City because that Kansas City crowd is loud.
Okay, so you're picking Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Patriots in a classic quarterback matchup.
Yeah. So I have Kansas City over New England Patriots.
Okay, and let's go back to the Super Bowl pick that you gave us last week, which was Kansas City over the Rams, and both those teams are still available, still in the playoffs. Are you going to stick with that and take Kansas City over the Rams in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, as long as nothing else, unless there's the Saints win versus the Rams, and then that might, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so you're taking the Chiefs still as the Super Bowl pick for this year.
Yes.
Okay, well, stay tuned, and should be a fun weekend of football, and look forward to coming back and checking in with you after the games.
Nap with the desk.
Remember, we have a 3-day weekend because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
That's it for us. And thanks for watching KCAT.
Thanks for watching KCAT.
Thanks for watching KCAT.